Welcome to this Select Technology webinar titled Personal and Team Task Management, Microsoft Planner and To Do. We thank you for joining us today. Your presenter today is Nick Ellis, our Digital Transformation Consultant. My name is Jig Mehta, I'm the Marketing Executive, and I'll be Nick's second. I'll now hand you over to Nick.
Thank you for that, Jig. As Jig says, welcome to the session. We're talking today about task management and general productivity management using the tools that are available in Office 365. Hopefully you can get something out of this. There's a common problem that has arisen as a result of the lockdown that's come out of coronavirus, that conversations that were previously easy, we were all sat in the same office and we were all able to hear what each other are doing, are rather more difficult. It's harder to know what each other is doing and so on. So there are two tools that we're going to be discussing, and I'm going to come on to all of that in just a moment. So, as I say, the two tools are Planner and To Do, as in the title. They're built in, they are part of your Office 365 license, so they're both included in the very lowest level of license. So if you've got any Office 365, you've definitely got Planner and To Do. And what we're going to do is go through the both of those. We're going to start with a quick overview of the products, and then I'm going to come back into a bit of theory just to explain why there are two different products for apparently the same job. So I'm just going to come over to the software. You should now be able to see this is Planner. So this is built in a dummy Microsoft 365 environment. So there's all sorts of stuff in here that isn't real. Don't worry too much about the data, it's all about the functionality. So when you come to Planner, by default you come here, the Planner hub. You can see in there there's one plan already built, and then as I go into that you can see all the tasks and what have you. Separately we have To Do, which looks like this, and again tasks and views and menus and stuff to interact. The difference is really about what you're using to collaborate with your team versus what you're using to drive your own activity during the day. So again, I'll switch back to some slides just for a second. I'm going to try not to be death by PowerPoint in this, I promise, but quick look at some slides will help. So as you can see here, we've got an idea of a few teams that are working on things together, and then 5 people. So teams here does not mean teams in the hierarchical organizational sense. You don't have to be working for the same person, you don't have to be in any kind of structured team. It's literally just a group of people, and you can pick and choose whoever that may be. And there is a whole separate webinar available on YouTube now about how to use the Teams product to collaborate in that way. Planner is a small subset of that, but this goes into a lot more detail. You can see here that I've marked myself and Jig as members of the webinars team, myself, Rachel and Kashaya as part of the team support team, and so on. And then going this way, all of us have got a personal list and some flagged emails. So when you're looking at this, that list there, the horizontal list of all the activities that I own, that's in To Do. And you can see as you go down the list, each of us has got our own To Do. But then Planner is looking vertically at everything that is owned by somebody in that plan. So as we go across here, you can see these are all in plans because this is multiple people working on the same subject. This is To Do because it is one person, all the subjects that they work on. So we looked a little bit at the Planner hub just now. you can see a slightly more built out one. This is actually my real planner hub, which is drawn from Select Technologies activities, and you can see that in there are multiple plans that I can see at the bottom. I'm a member of probably now 15 or 20 plans actually, and the key ones for me I can pop up, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute, and get quick access to some overview data. Within a plan you have this concept of these cards. Excuse me, I've leapt forward a slide further than I meant to. You have these cards, and the cards are the definition of a task. So each task that you have is held within a card, and a card is held within these are called buckets. We're going to look at that in detail. This is the web version, which is being presented in Teams. It's completely integrated into Teams, so you can view it on the web, which is where this is being seen. You can view the individual plans in Teams. And there is also, as you've already seen, because I skipped ahead, a mobile app which is available for Android and iOS, not Windows Mobile, because Windows Mobile has gone the way of all things, unfortunately. But yeah, Android and iOS, there are mobile apps for both To Do and for Planner, actually. A quick talk about the structure of plans before we get into looking at the software again. So there's four key concepts: plans, buckets, tasks, and assignees. The plan is the defining top layer. So that's essentially the group of people, and really all you define in the plan is the name, the owner of the plan, and anybody else that's involved in it. When you do that, that creates a SharePoint site and a group mailbox and a calendar, because it's all connected to Office 365 groups, if you're familiar with those. But what it doesn't do, it doesn't create a team in Teams. You can do that, you can do it very easily, and I'll show you how, but it doesn't do it by default. So it is a good idea, if you can, to start with Teams and then add the plan, rather than start with Planner and then add the team. It's not disastrous, but if you can do it that way around, it's slightly easier. You can control the permissions as to who gets to create plans as well, but that is quite a blunt instrument. So if you can't create plans, you can't create mailing lists, teams, SharePoint sites. It's the one permission to rule them all, as it were. Buckets, you briefly saw in that view that there are these vertical towers that the tasks sit in. Those are called buckets. They're really subject headers. They are not about assignment. They're not about status management. They're not about prioritization. There are fields for those. A bucket is really just a category that says this is finance, this is product development, this is marketing, whatever it might be. So within a plan you can subcategorize them a little bit, and there are also labels, so you can subcategorize them even more. At the top of every bucket there's a new, so you can go straight to the bucket, hit new, it will create a task for you, and it will put it in the bucket where you started. If that's the wrong bucket, it doesn't matter, it's all drag and drop, as you're about to see. Tasks themselves, obviously, this is the thing that we're after today. This is the guts of it, and that's where we keep all the information. Summary, you can see the list there, summary, description, assignee, etc. This is where all the integration happens. This is what connects through to do. This is the stuff that we are in and out of all the time, and I'm going to obviously show you quite a lot of detail around how they work in a minute. And then assignment, obviously, task, no point of creating a task and not assigning it to anyone, except that you might do. And why might you create a task and not assign it to anyone? Largely as a reminder that at some point in the plan you're going to have to do this, and you can create it there and leave it and then worry about the assignment when you get closer to the time. When you do assign it to somebody, you can in fact assign it to more than one somebody. So If you've got tasks that are a sort of subgroup of your plan or working on, that's fine. Any assignee that you do add, unless it is you, will get an email telling you that it's done. It won't send you an email saying you've just, it used to, but they fixed that. And you also get a due day notification. So about 8 o'clock, it's not exactly, but around 8 o'clock every morning, you'll get an email that says these are the tasks that are due today. So you're always kind of kept aware. People can't just dump a task on you and hope you don't notice and then blame you for it. And you can't claim not to have been told and reminded come the due date. So it keeps you informed. There are additional reminders you can add as well, and we'll have a look at those in just a second. Let's start with creating a plan. So if I come back to the Planner Hub, you see I've only got one plan in here, the webinar planner. So this is the plan of how to deliver these webinars. Before we get to that, we obviously have to create a plan. So we're going to do that by hitting the new plan button. So I'm just going to create a quick plan for this specific webinar. I can choose to make it public or private. You can see there what the difference is. They're not hidden, so anybody in the organisation could search for Thursday webinar and they would find this this plan. What they wouldn't be able to do is dig down any further into what are the assignments and the tasks inside that. And then you can open up options. All there is in the options is the group description. So if I wanted to, I could say redundant text in this case, but you can put slightly more explanatory text. It's useful for if you want people to be able to find your plan and look for it, and it's also useful when you're creating the plan initially and adding people into it. The email that tells them that they've been added into it includes a bit of information, includes this field essentially to tell them what it is they've been added to. So if I go ahead and create that, you see it creates this empty screen essentially. See, it automatically creates one bucket, no tasks. This is not a task yet, this is a form to allow me to create a task. I've got an option here to create more buckets. What I haven't done yet is give it any members though, so I'm just going to add Jig into this plan, but I think I'll also add a couple of other people. Never mind. So those people will get an email now that will tell them that they have been added to a plan, and it will add them into the corresponding Office 365 group and the SharePoint site and all that stuff is all happening in the background. Now, of course, I haven't yet created any tasks, so all they're going to be told is you've been put in a plan. To create tasks, obviously, the button here says add task. That is the route to everything. So creating a task is very simple. This doesn't work for everybody. It slightly depends on your mindset, but I tend to use this almost like meeting minutes. So as a task is created in a meeting, it's really simple to just, every time you press enter, it's going to create that task for you. You can see Jig has just created a task off the side there and assigned it. And then if I said this is not quite what I wanted it to be called, this is just a free text field. You can put anything you want up here, etc. Now, the other elements, so that's how we go about creating and kicking off a plan. The other elements, I'm going to come over to this plan here that we've already populated, and that will show us a bit more of the content and capabilities. So you see here we've got 4 buckets: content, marketing, slide development, and delivery. Up here in the top right, there's this drop down that shows how we're grouping it. So at the moment we're grouped by bucket, but you have these options: assigned, progress, due date, labels, and priority. So looking at assigned to, it switches the view around. I can see I've got quite a lot assigned to me, which is my own fault. I assigned it myself. These guys, Alex Wilbur, which is who I was looking for, Emily, Jig. Now what you will notice is that you can see the same task multiple times where the same task is assigned to multiple people. So technology test here, it's in my column because it's assigned to me. It's in Grady's column because it's assigned to him. And somewhere, this is a longer column, there you go, it's in Jig's column because it's assigned to. So you're seeing the same task multiple times. Don't panic, it's not a copy, it's just because it's got multiple assignees. I can switch it to progress and I can see what's not started, what's in progress, what's completed. I can go by due date, so tomorrow, next week, future. There would be a past column if we had any that was expired. If I were doing this on Monday, that one would have drifted into the past section. Labels. I'm going to talk a little bit about labels, but we can sort or group rather by label and priority. You can see there the available priorities: low, medium, important, and urgent. So that's a useful way of rearranging if you're thinking about what, particularly I think the due date one is really, oh, this is the stuff I need to worry about straight away, and then the assigned to for checking who's doing what. In any of these views, if you decide it's in the wrong one, it is as simple as dragging them between the two. That has now, you can see there in the bucket, that's now showing delivery. If I drag it back into slide development, reopen it, it's in slide development. So it's very, very easy to move things around. I can reassign the same way. So this one here, Adele, I'm going to take it away from Adele and I'm going to give it to Alex. You'll see Jig was also assigned to that one and he remains assigned to it. Now, having taken away Adele's only task, it has to be said in this view, it has also taken away the column to allow me to drag and drop. So if I want to send it back, I do need to do it like this. So I can open the task up, select Adele, and remove Alex. And then straight away you see assignee replaced, you get a little notification, and it's recreated that column there so that I can see that. I'm going to go back to the bucket view so that I can go through some of the functionality in the cards that you can see. So each task is created, as you saw, by just adding a headline. When you go to the add task, there are three things you can add straight out of the form. That's the headline, title of the task, the due date, and the assignment. However, once you've created it, there's a lot more information, as you can see here. So you get progress, priority, you can have a start date. So if you want to say this, don't start it until Wednesday and finish it by Friday, you can record that. Notes, I don't like the labeling of these fields, if I'm honest with you, but so the notes I think is the description column and the comments I think is the notes. But so this is where you're going to put a more detailed description of the task. You're going to maybe give suggestions and guidance to the person you're assigning it to if that isn't you. And then here is where you're going to put your ongoing commentary. Help if I click the box. And it will store an audit log of comments as they get added like that. You can't add attachments to comments, and we're going to look at attachments in a moment. You can see up here, this chargeable is highlighted. Don't worry about this. We are doing an automation one next week, but it's not chargeable. It's just there for labeled demonstration. So the labels are essentially just another layer of kind of free text categorization. So you saw when I went to here, view by labels, it's just a different way of viewing it. They are free text. You can create labels, call them what you want. and you can have multiple labels assigned as well. So you can see there, I mean that's obviously contradictory, but you can have multiple labels assigned if you so want. If you change your mind, just go back in and remove the tick. Looking down, the one below has actually got an attachment assigned to it, so you can see there that there's a big PowerPoint icon. If I go into that, there is the PowerPoint. So, and I've ticked the show on card. So you can have one piece of information showing on the card. If you look around here, this is PowerPoint. Here is a task list. Here's a description. So those are the areas that you can have. You can only have one of them. So you can have the task list or the description or the attachment. To add that attachment, all I've done is gone add attachment. Then I get this choice: file, link, or SharePoint. So file is obviously going to bring me the usual Windows upload dialog. SharePoint is going to go and have a look around the related SharePoint site connected to this plan, which you can see that is where I got the file from. And link is precisely going to do what it sounds like. So you put in a web address at the top and then you give it some text to display. So as an example of that, there is an example of that here. So here I put a link to the Select Technology LinkedIn page, made it show on card so it's nice and prominent, and then if I click on that, obviously that's what it's going to do. Checklists are a particularly interesting bit of functionality. So again, you can create these very easily, just like taking notes. Just type enter, type, and every time you press enter, it's going to add another item to the list. And they're as simple as, so we don't need that one now, we've done that, we've done that, we've done that. So you just tick them off as they go. If I come back to the card view, you'll see now there it says that 4 out of the 9 things on that list have been done. It's taken off that top one because it's completed. I might decide though that recording, is that really a subset or is that a whole task all of its own? If it's a task all of its own, all I need to do is click here and you'll see it's gone from this list, but now here it is, it's a task in its own right, and I can do everything that I would have done otherwise. Progress. So progress is divided into not started, in progress, and completed. This is not a project management tool. So it doesn't get to how big is the task in hours and minutes, and it doesn't get to what percentage to 2 decimal places have you completed this task. You've either started it or you haven't, and you've either finished it or you haven't. The function of Planner is to allow people to work collaboratively in a, to use the jargon, in a horizontal way. So this is peers working together and collaborating on things. If you're looking for project management in the, I want Gantt charts and I want to know to the hour and exact conflicts of who's working on what and all that kind of information, that is available. It's available in Office 365, but that's project, that's not Planner. It's not unusual for the companies to work the two side by side. So you've got project for customer facing stuff, Planner for internal and innovative kind of things. So anyway, so that's your progress. In terms of priority, again, there's only 4. They're not customizable. None of this is designed to be customizable. It's designed to be used straight out of the box as is. But yeah, so you've got urgent, important, medium and low. If you mark it important or urgent, then it will flag, as you can see over here. It will put the bell, and here where it's put the important flag. If you mark it as medium or low, it won't flag that. It will always show on here if there is a due date, and I can just click on that date and I can update it. Actually, that's the 24th, and it just does it straight away. This is all constantly saving itself. There's no save button anywhere on this screen, you'll notice. Another way of viewing this, which is not a Gantt chart, but it sort of maybe appeals a bit more to project management people, is to look at it this way as a calendar view. So this is telling me a few things. It's telling me that I've got 3 tasks on the 20th, because it will show 2 by default. If you've got more than 2, it will start to give you a link that pops up this view. If you go into the week view, you get a bit more detail like that, and you can see progress here. These 2 are started, where in the month view it compresses it all down like this. One of the key things for this is it also tells you the stuff that hasn't got a date. And again, if I want to make the website task be on the 17th, all I've got to do is drag it and drop it. That task has now straight away got that due date put in it. And I can also rearrange to actually a technology test. Let's do that on the 21st. Update straight away. The other area that people find useful is the charts section. So in the charts area, you get, as one might expect, charts. So you've got a status of tasks. This is not, it's not telling you the size of the task, it's a count, but you've got status of tasks, not started, completed, 3 done. So this is telling me that I'm about just under a quarter of the way through the project, assuming all tasks are the same size. The bucket, so this is where the bucket comes in handy, because you can see the sort of subject view. You know, actually we haven't started anything in delivery, that's bad. You know, you might start to make some decisions based on that, and priority. So what is important, what is not important. This is probably about right. You haven't got very much that's completely unimportant. A couple of urgent things, most of it's in the middle. And then down here you can see individual user allocations. So Jig got a lot going on. He looks like he's busy. Doesn't necessarily, I mean, these might be 11 really simple tasks, or this could be one huge task, so you've got to think about that, but it does at least give you a rough idea of how to allocate the next task. If you can see that these 2 people perhaps do the same thing, you know, okay, well, fine, who's got the most work on? So we've looked at board view and the various ways of categorizing and filtering that. We've looked at the functions that you can get to. So you've got all of your categorization, assignment, adding a checklist, adding a notes description, comments, attachments, and then the labels up here that will give you that extra bit of categorization if you need it. There's 3 dots here. As I always say in all my webinars, always, if you see 3 dots, always click on it just to see what will happen. Copy task, move task, so you can move it out into another plan if you've got one, and copy link to task, which is quite handy. It will just quickly, so if you need to just send that to somebody in a Teams message or an email, you can just get the link to this specific task, which if you look up here in the URL when I close, will, hey, says, and then it didn't. So that is the overview of Planner. I'm hoping that there are questions coming as we're talking, but that is broadly everything you need to know about Planner. And I'm going to go back to the slides to talk a bit about To Do. So as I said earlier, To Do is about managing your personal workload as opposed to group workload. So what does that mean? So To Do, there is, as I mentioned earlier, there's a mobile client for both iOS and Android. There is not a Teams integration, and if you think about that logically, and I confess I spent a day or 2 trying to make it work in Teams before I realised why would I want an entirely personal list of things to be available in Teams. So actually, even if you try, it doesn't work. But there is a Windows client that you can get from the Microsoft Store. go to the store on your Windows 10 machine and search for to do, and it will give you this client straight away. And it will appear like this. So you've got a header of main sections, and then at the bottom is this customizable section where you can add lists of your own devising and add more and more tasks. So you can categorize things yourself within that. But let's have a look at the section at the top. So this section at the top is the main area. So my day, I'm going to talk about my day in a bit more detail in a minute, as well as important. Planned is all of the activity that has come to you from Planner. Assigned to you is everything that's come to you from Planner, plus anything that's been assigned to you in To Do. So you can share lists and assign things across if you want, although I would generally say don't do that, do it in Planner. Flagged email, so that's exactly what it sounds like. You know, the red flag looks like that in Outlook. If you click a flag, you set this up in the settings at the start, and then when you click the flag in email, it will create a task for you. Might seem like a strange thing to do. I'll show you why you would possibly want to do that. And then the home page of tasks is exactly what it is. It's a set of tasks that you just create for yourself. So this is the task detail panel. I'm going to come into this in the software again in a minute rather, but this is the task detail section. So you can add steps again, like the checklists. You can set reminders, due dates. You can create repetition. Some of these change slightly depending on where the task has come from. So if it's come from Planner, I believe you can't create a repetition. If it's come from a flagged email, you can, and if you create it locally in To Do, you can. You can add files and attachments, and you can add notes to yourself as well. If it's come from Outlook, it will have this link on it, so you can click the link. It will take you to the Outlook web client, and you can see the original email. If it's come from Planner, click that and it will take you back to Planner, and you can see the original task. So my day and important. My day is a list. It's like the piece of paper you've got on your desk for today. Many of us come into work, and we, in the old days, used to open a notebook and write on paper a list of what I was going to do today. Many of us still do that. My day is a kind of a replacement for that. So you've got all of your tasks that you need to do stored in To Do. When you arrive in the morning, or at the moment, when you get up in the morning, you can quickly go through those and go, okay, what are the 4 or 5 tasks that I'm going to attempt to do today? And you just right click and mark them with the add to my day. That's going to create you a list that you can keep referring back to during the day. At the end of the day, it's going to clear it, because it's not that day anymore, it's a different day. So now you need to start your list again. If you want to retain a task and carry it over from one day to the next, you can either remember that in your brain, which different people have different levels of success with, or you can mark it as important. Marking important will put it in the, if I go back one slide, 2 slides, it will put it in here. So it will be in the important list, and it won't clear that. So this one will have been cleared. This one will have whatever's in there. So if you got to the end of the day, I'm going to need to find that tomorrow morning, mark it as important. When you come back, it will be very easily available to you. As you can see, the right click menu, and you click over any task, you've got today, you've got mark as important. You can straight away mark it as completed, and you can set due dates to work to. So this is the My Day screen. So having gone through and found the tasks that I want to work on, it's going to put them in here. It's a customizable screen, which is to do with accessibility and eye strain. If you find it a bit difficult looking at a bright image, you can tone it down. If you want to be a bit more motivated, you can jazz it up. And you can see as well that there's an add a task section at the bottom of My Day. So you can go straight to that and go, I'm going to do this today. I don't need to put it in a list because I'm going to do it straight away today. And that is obviously good discipline. Well done you. So before we get into the integration, I'm just going to stop sharing that, and I'm going to go through all of that again, looking at it from a software perspective. So say this is to do. Let's have a quick look through that. So over here, this is what I was talking about, the main sections, important, planned, assigned to you. This, by the way, is the web version, because if I put my Windows client up, it will show you my list of tasks from the real world. So that's why I'm using the web version. The important has got one thing left in it. My day actually has got nothing in it. And the reason that my day's got nothing in it is because I've only come to this for the purpose of this webinar. Because it's got nothing in it, it's going to start making some suggestions where it says, well, hang on, that was these were due yesterday. This is stuff that you added yesterday. You added recently rather. Do you want to start adding those in? I could say, actually, that one's done. So, and you can hear it makes an exciting ping noise when you do that. I can add those into my day. And then that my day view, which is not quite as graphically exciting as the one I just showed you, but that's because it's the web client, not the desktop client. That's going to sit there. You can see, however, this one, automation, is marked as important. So that is always going to sit in this list. Now, when you mark things as completed, as you can see here, it crosses them through. By default, it won't take them away. So there's in every list, there is a section, hide complete tasks. So if I come back to that, hide complete tasks, it will take them away. If I want, I can always put them back in. So my day is just a list of things I'm going to be working on. Important is the stuff that I've decided is important to me. Planned is activity that I've scheduled, given dates to, and has come out of Planner and assigned to you again. These are slightly overlapping lists, if I'm honest. And the flagged email, as I say, is emails that I have gone into Outlook and said, I need to work on this, and flagged it. I'm going to take that out. That will restore the flag. So why would I want to flag an email and then work on it in to do? Well, historically, it's always been quite difficult to manage, because you've got this email there. You don't really necessarily want to reply. It might be an email from a customer or company directors or whatever. You don't necessarily want to reply to the email, but how are you going to add information to it? You could do it with Outlook tasks, but it was relatively limited. This, by the way, is completely replacing Outlook tasks over time. So this is how you're going to be working with Outlook tasks in the future. What it means is all of this functionality. So now I can work on it, and I can add attachments. I can add my expenses claims for the very microphone that I'm talking to you through. I can set due dates. I can give myself notes where these are notes from the other day when I was talking about this. I can work on it and keep track of it without having to keep replying to the email. There is a flag in Outlook which will show, that will tell me that I've got a task in here, and if I click here, open in Outlook, you can see there is the original message, and I was going to say you could see the flag, but there you go. That flag had been cleared. The reason that flag had been cleared is because I had previously completed it like that. So I flag it, it will show up here. So I can do all these extra functions that you can't really do in Outlook, and you can store more information. And then once you get to the point where you're ready to reply to your stakeholder, whoever that might be, then you can just hit there. There's the email, and you can compose your reply. Everything that you do that relates to a plan, so if we find this one here, again, you can click that and open in Planner, and you get this view. But also, if I add notes to it, you see that flicks to updated. And if I come into here, it's taking a second to click through, it's got the T, that will Oh, that's interesting. Again, I can add due dates to it. This doesn't have a due date on it for from the plan. This one has come down with a due date which was inherited from the plan, and I can choose to add this one to my day. And then down the side I can add lists here, and these are essentially just lists that I have access to. You can see again, really easy to add tasks, because then as soon as you've added them, all of that functionality becomes available. Now I mentioned earlier that you can share, I might wish to share that list with somebody else. There you go, that's just because I did it a little bit quicker than the software was ready for. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that link and I'm going to send it now to Jig in the team chat. This, and then when Jig clicks on that link, he will get added in as somebody that I can assign to. Because I've shared, I've now got the assign to button. I haven't yet got anyone to assign it to because Jig hasn't clicked it. So I can't just force him into the list and say, haha, I'm going to assign stuff to you. I do have to wait for him to acknowledge that, click the link, and oops, and I'm pressing the wrong button. That's why it's doing that. The only other thing that's worth talking about here is repetition. So you can do daily, weekly, as you can see, all of this here. Yearly is quite handy for things that you just don't really remember, like, oh, I've got a software license I have to renew, or I've got a security certificate, or whatever it might be. So you can set quite long range tasks up here, or you can set up a custom, we say every 2 months, repeat, etc. So you can, all of the things that you could do with task management in the past. Let's see whether, no, Jig hasn't managed to click that link. Jig assures me he has clicked that link. Sometimes with Office 365, you've got to consider that it's there are literally millions of servers involved, and there are literally millions of users involved. So things aren't necessarily instant click of a finger. They do come. So it's just not going to do it though. So the integration capabilities of pop that away, you've got 2 of them. Of these tools is entirely based on the Office 365 platform, and it does integrate very well with all of those tools. So what does that mean? So obviously they integrate with each other. Anything that you create in Planner will show in your to-do. Slight qualification there, if you ticked the box when the first time you open to-do. When you open to-do the first time, it will say, do you want everything out of your Planner? Do you want your flagged emails? You have to tell it that you want them. You can go and change them later, change those settings later if you wish. But anything that you create in Planner will show in to-do, and then any updates that you do in to-do will flow back into your Planner. In terms of to-do and Outlook, we talked a little bit about that with flagged emails become tasks, and then completing the to-do task will clear the flag on the email. The note there, Outlook tasks are to-do tasks, so that it's the same data set underneath. So if you create it in to-do, you should be able to see it in Outlook and vice versa. Power Automate, which is the automation platform for Office. There's a webinar all about that next week if you're interested in how to automate your workflows. That works closely with Planner, so you can automatically create, update, reassign, etc., and so on. And then Power Automate with To-Do, so information in To-Do can trigger activities in Power Automate. That's also true in Planner, and workflows can drive it as well. And then Planner and SharePoint. So the two are very closely linked. You saw there's the integration when you try and attach a file. It's going to try and it's going to offer you SharePoint as a source, but also when you've attached it, it is actually then going to put it in SharePoint. And as I mentioned earlier, it's very closely linked with SharePoint Teams. And then there's Teams itself. So Planner integrates deeply into Teams, which I'm going to come back to. And that is essentially the end of the slide. So let's just come back to that Teams integration, because I confess in my enthusiasm, I ran past it earlier. So we created this plan here, this Thursday webinar plan, and we added this. You'll see this is an interesting little pop-up actually. Thank you for that, Jig. That's shown that Jig made a change to this, and it has actually given me a notification to tell me. When I created it, it's created a group. It's got me, this Alan, who's a fictional person, and Jig, and we've all been added into this group. So when I go to Teams, if I decide actually, do you know what, I think I'm going to want a Teams, I'm going to want to be able to have conversations and do a bit more with this group than just have the plan. If I go join or create a team, create from an Office 365 group, and you can see there's that Thursday webinar. I'm just going to run through that again because I clicked it a bit quickly. So I create a team, create from Office 365 group, and there it is. So when I click on that now, click there, click create, and it will create the team. And you can see straight away that the membership of that team is the same as the membership of the plan, and it would be very easy to come along and say, okay, planner, use an existing plan. And it will add that into Teams. You've got all the same functionality, the group by, etc. The only thing you haven't got is the hub. So you've got your charts, you've got your schedule, boards, still works in drag and drop, presenting basically the same stuff. The only thing you're missing is the hub. And then coming back to here, looking at that hub, to get a plan onto the hub, is to just click it there, and then you can see it presents the first of those charts, the pie chart view, in the hub. Then you can click through and you're back to here. So that is the full content. That's everything we wanted to share with you today. I hope you found it useful. Jig, have we had any questions at all? Got any questions, give me a shout. I'm very happy to help.